Part 2 of The Secret River by Marjorie Kinnan Rawlings. This is part 2. It's Noah again. It means that everything is hard, and especially for poor people. She felt of the table. She laid her head on Buggy Horse's back. She ate another mouthful of grits, and it was true. Everything seemed harder than usual. She asked, "Are we poor people?" "I don't feel poor," her father said. "We are poor people. I make an honest living selling fish to other poor people. Now there are no fish. Nobody can catch any fish. I shall have to close my fish market, and things will go hard with all of us." Calpurnia ate her hard grits and patted Buggy Horse's hard back, and she said a poem. "I wish we had fish. Then hard times would end. But I am not the least little bit worried because everybody bees my friend." Her mother said, "You can't say everybody bees my friend. It sounds as if you're talking about bees. Honeybees or bumblebees." Calpurnia was delighted. She changed her poem in her mind, and then she said, Everybody's bees is my friends. Everybody's flowers is my flowers. Everybody's happy hours is my happy hours. All this goes on and there is no ends." "That's better," said her mother. "You are really a smart child, but you should say are no ends." So Calpurnia said, "Are no ends. R. And Buggy Horse said, "Arf, arf, arf." Her mother said, "I sometimes don't know who's the smartest, you or that little old Buggy Horse." Her father said, It won't matter who's the smartest if I can't get fish to sell to the other poor people." And he went to his empty fish market. Calpurnia went outside and stood beside a tree and thought about the fish market. There was a small pond where she and Buggy Horse often went to fish. But now, picture right there. She had never caught anything there except tiny minnows. Also, she used angleworms for bait, and they were squirmy and had to be kept in a glass jar. She did not like this, and she imagined that her angleworms did not like it either. But she did love to go fishing. She did not know which she loved the best, Buggy Horse or fishing, or making poems. She said to herself, "Now if I was a fish, what would I like to bite?" She thought, and she had a wonderful idea. She said to Buggy Horse, "If I was a fish, I would only bite something unusual and something pretty." Another giant picture right there. That's pretty cool. Bird, don't you think? She went up a ladder on the outside of the house that led to the attic. She remembered some beautiful pink crepe paper left over from a birthday party. Buggy Horse tried to follow her up the ladder, but he was so fat in his stomach that he had to give up. She came down again with the pink paper and found a pair of scissors, and she went to her mother. "Mother dear, may I make some paper roses?" "Of course, my child." Her mother was very considerate and did not ask questions unless she had to. So Calpurnia made some large roses from the pink paper and tied them to the ends of her pigtails. She set out with Buggy Horse and her fishing pole to find Mother Albertha, who was the wisest person in the forest. Mother Albertha was sitting in front of her little shop. She was worried about hard times too, like Calpurnia's father, for if there are no fish, and one person is poor, and everybody else is poor too. And Mother Albertha had no customers at all. Calpurnia said, Mother Albertha, I am going fishing to keep my father from being poor. I have fished in the pond, but the fish are so small. You are the wisest person in the forest. Will you tell me where I can catch some fish, so that hard times will be soft times? Mother Albertha rocked back and forth. She said, Child, I have not breathed this to a living soul, but I will tell you there are big fish in the secret river. Oh my! The fish, catfish, perch, bream, and mudfish, and garfish, especially catfish. Is the secret river far away? Nobody knows. I will tell you this. You will be home again by nightfall. How will I find it? Just follow your nose. You will know the river when you see it. Thank you, Mother Albertha. When I catch the fish, I will bring you some. Child, you talk like an angel. Now, Calpurnia thought it was foolish to find anything by following her nose. She said to Buggy Horse, My nose goes straight ahead. How will I know where to turn? But she started out into the forest. The first thing she knew, a rabbit hopped by. She turned to look at him, which meant that her nose pointed to the right. So she followed her nose. After a while, a blue jay flew into a live oak tree and scolded her for running away. She turned her nose. Now, bunny that she saw a second ago. And there's the bird that she saw just now. To the left to look at him. So she followed her nose. All of a sudden, she heard sounds like music. The forest had ended. Calpurnia had found the secret river. The river was so beautiful that she sat down on a cypress knee to admire it. The cypress trees were sitting at the edge of the water to cool themselves. Their bony knees stuck out of it. She said to the cypress trees, I hope you don't mind if I sit on one of your knees to admire the secret river. The cypresses clicked their green needles, which she took for permission. The river was singing as it ran by. Then she saw the fish. They were jumping and dancing, and there were so many of them that they got in each other's way. Calpurnia said to the fish, Do you mind if I catch some of you to save the forest from hard times? The fish did not answer, so she took that for permission too. Now she saw a little red boat tied to the bank, and it had a sign on it. The sign said, Please tie me up again when you are through with me. I am so afraid of getting lost. Calpurnia stepped into the red boat with her fishing pole and the pink paper roses tied to her pigtails. Buggy Horse followed her into the boat. She pushed away from the shore. The boat rocked gently on the river. She took one of the pink paper roses from her braids and tied it to the hook on the end of her fishing line. The pink rose floated for a few minutes and then sank slowly down through the water. An old frog sitting on the bottom of the river saw it. he croaked. Now what in the water is that thing? It's meant to catch fish? That's what it is. Well, I won't bite it, that's sure. He settled himself to watch, and before he had blinked his eyes, a huge catfish tried to swallow the pink paper rose and was hauled out of the river on the end of Calpurnia's fishing line. The old frog grunted. I knew it! There's nothing more foolish than a fish. Sitting in the red boat, Calpurnia pulled in one fish after another. Buggy Horse hung over the side in excitement, just as Mother Alberta had promised. There are more catfish than anything else. And this pleased Calpurnia for two reasons. In the first place, the people in the forest dearly love to eat catfish, and her father could get higher price for them. In second place, catfish are extremely disagreeable and try to stick everybody with their sharp barbs on their heads. Calpurnia thought that fish who go out of their way to stick people deserve to be caught. After a while, Calpurnia had as many catfish in the red boat as she could possibly carry home. She pushed the boat into the shore and tied it carefully to the trunk of a cypress tree. She moved the fish to the ground and Buggy Horse helped her. He could only carry one fish in his mouth at a time, but he worked hard and did his best. That's really cute, don't you think, guys? Really cute, don't you think? Calpurnia said to him, How can we carry all these fish home? Buggy Horse looked at the fishing pole and barked. He looked at a clump of beer grass and barked. Calpurnia understood at once. Beer grass has long, thin, tough leaves, and they can be used like strong pieces of string. She broke off the leaves and passed them through the gills of the fish and tied the fish on the fishing pole. She put the pole over her shoulder. It was very heavy with all the catfish on it. She started out for home. It was late afternoon, and shadows were already falling through the forest. She said to Buggy Horse, Mother Alberta told us to find the secret river by following my nose. Do you think we can get home the same way? Buggy Horse barked, and she decided to try to get home the same way. A gray fox turned her nose to the left, and the mother raccoon, with two baby raccoons, turned her nose to the right. It was getting dark. The sun had set. The day animals were going to bed, and the night animals were coming out to play and hunt for their supper. Calpurnia heard a strange sound. A deep voice called, Who? Why? Who? It's the owl right there, guys. Calpurnia did not know where the questions came from, but she answered bravely. I'm Calpurnia. Who are you? The voice said, Who? Why? It's just a hoot owl. But then she saw the hoot owl sitting in the top of a dead tree. He was enormous, and he did not look friendly. She wondered if he had came out to hunt for his supper. He rolled his big round eyes at her fish. He rolled his big round eyes at Buggy Horse. No doubt about it, he was very hungry. Calpurnia said quickly, Please, Mr. Hoot Owl, can I give you a nice fresh catfish for your supper? Hoot Owl cocked his head on one side and flapped his wings. He flew down into a small wild plum tree beside her. It was a great deal of trouble to untie the catfish from the fishing pole, but she picked out the biggest fish of all and laid it on the clean grass. The hoot owl swooped down and began eating it at once without saying thank you. She said, You are welcome anyway. And she and Buggy Horse went on. The forest was so dark she could not see her nose in front of her face, so of course she could not follow her nose. I'm not a bit worried, she said out loud. She was really worried, but she said it to cheer up Buggy Horse. All of a sudden, she saw a huge black shadow in front of her. The shadow moved and Buggy Horse growled. There's the, like where they are. It doesn't show the shadow, though. Calpurnia thought up a poem quickly. She called out, "Shadow, shadow, go away. You won't scare me in the day. I won't be scared because it's night. Shadow, shadow, be polite." The shadow was a big black bear. Calpurnia's heart went thump, thump, thump. Buggy Horse tried to hide behind the catfish. Calpurnia thought maybe the bear's hungry too. She said in a small, frightened voice, "Mr. Bear, could I interest you in a nice fresh catfish for your supper?" There's the bear. There's Calpurnia. And there's that hiding Buggy Horse down there. The bear snuffled as if he needed a handkerchief, and he came closer. She did not wait to pick up the biggest catfish. She pulled 2 from the fishing pole as fast as possible and laid them on the clean grass. She did not run away, but she hurried. She called over her shoulder, "You're entirely welcome," in case the bear had thanked her. Buggy Horse did not say a word. He was really scared. The forest was as black as a bear. Then Calpurnia saw something crouching ahead of her. It was a panther. She did not know whether he was friendly or unfriendly, but she thought, "I'm sure he's hungry. I expect hard times have come to the panthers in the forest." So she said, "Mr. Panther, you are a sort of cat, and cats love fish, and I should like to give you some nice fresh catfish for your supper." She was not so frightened now, and she took 3 catfish from her fishing pole and laid them on the clean grass. The panther began eating them at once, and he purred so loudly that she knew he was saying thank you. She said, "You are certainly most welcome." She said a poem. "If somebody scares you, the thing to do is give somebody something to. Then they never bother you. Sometimes they say thank you." Big scenery. There's the panther right there. There's Calpurnia. And Buggy Horse. Buggy Horse right there. Okay. Calpurnia and Buggy Horse went on, although they could not see their way, and then the full moon rose, and the forest was as bright as day. She smelled night flowers blooming. Calpurnia said a poem. "The night is bright with white moonlight. The little things have songs and wings." A mockingbird began to sing in the moonlight. The night birds began to fly. A white crane flew straight across the moon. It dropped a white feather, and Calpurnia picked it up and tucked it in her hair. Then she saw that they were out of the forest and on the path home. Buggy Horse barked joyfully and ran ahead. Calpurnia said, "It would be nice to go home this minute, but I promised Mother Bertha some fish. So come, my dear dog." Mother Bertha was just turning out out the light in her shop when she heard the knock on the door. "Who is that knocking so late?" she called. "It is Calpurnia with your fish." Mother Albertha's eyes were as big as saucers when she saw the fish. "Child, where did you catch all those catfish?" "Why, in the secret river where you told me to go." "Oh my goodness, to the Mayhabush. I forgot all about what I told you. Oh my goodness, to the swamp maple." Calpurnia was busily untying the fish from the fishing pole. "How many catfish do you want, Mother Albertha?" she asked. "Oh my goodness, to the red bud tree. Just give me one catfish, child. Just one nice catfish." Calpurnia chose the nicest and fattest, and Mother Albertha wrapped it in her apron. They all said good night, and Calpurnia and Buggy Horse hurried on home, and the lamps were burning in the house. Calpurnia's mother and father put their arms around her and began to cry. "Dear daughter, we thought you were lost in the forest." "Oh no, I just followed my nose. And see, I brought fish to turn hard times to soft times. I gave some away, but it was necessary." Her mother and father could not believe their eyes when they saw the catfish. "Child, how did you catch all these fish? How did you carry them home by yourself? Where have you been?" But Calpurnia was so tired and so sleepy that she could not answer. She drank a cup of cocoa, and her mother undressed her and tucked her into bed, and Buggy Horse lay down to sleep on the hooked rug beside her. She did not know another thing until it was morning. Her father had gone to the market to sell the catfish. A man who had not had anything to eat for a long time bought the first catfish. He said he would pay for it as soon as he had eaten it and had earned money for a day's work. For he had been too weak from hunger to work. A woman who had not had anything to eat for a long time bought the second catfish. She said she would pay for it as soon as she had eaten it and earned money for a day's work. For she had been too weak from hunger to work. And the people from the forest bought the catfish and ate them and felt strong again and went into the world and found work to do. They earned money, and that night they all paid Calpurnia's father for the catfish and had money to spare. Mother Albertha had 6 customers in her shop. Calpurnia's father had a big pile of money, and so hard times in the forest turned to soft times. One day, Calpurnia and Buggy Horse started out to find the secret river again. They searched all day and searched they searched all day and all the next day and the next. Calpurnia followed her nose this way and that. She found strange flowers and strange birds and strange little pools of water, but she could not find the river. So she went to Mother Albertha. "Mother Albertha," she said, "I cannot find the secret river." Mother Albertha rocked back and forth. "Child," she said, "this is a sad thing to tell you. There is not any secret river. But Mother Albertha, you told me how to find it, and I found it. I want to find it again." Mother Albertha rocked back and forth. She said, "Child, sometimes a thing happens once and does not happen anymore." Calpurnia said, "But I want to catch more catfish in the river." Mother Albertha said, "Child, you caught catfish when catfish were needed. Hard times have turned to soft times, so you will not find the river again. I told you once, and I tell you twice, there is not any secret river. But I saw it. It must be somewhere, for I caught catfish there." Mother Albertha rocked back and forth. "The secret river is in your mind," she said. "You can go there any time you want to. In your mind, close your eyes and you will see it." Calpurnia was delighted. She skipped all the way home. Buggy Horse chased his peculiar tale. Calpurnia sat down under a magnolia tree and closed her eyes. There was like scenery right there. She saw the river. It was as beautiful as she remembered it. She said a poem. A secret river is in my mind. I can go there any time. Everything Mother Alberta says is true. The sky is gold and the river is blue. River, river, I love you. She opened her eyes and the river was gone. She felt sad. She did want to see it again with her eyes open. She knew that it was truly somewhere in the forest. Someday she would find it once more. It probably ran straight out into the world. The world, she was true, was a kind and beautiful place. She said another poem. The world's full of love. It sings like a turtle dove. The world will love me, and under a cypress tree on its knees, we will watch the secret river together. We will find a white bird's feather. Calpurnia pulled an orange from the tree beside the gate. She threw it like a ball for Buggy Horse to play with. He brought it back to her at last, and then she ate it. Okay, that's the end of it, guys. Hopefully, if you only seen this is the second part of the book, and this is the end of the book. Earlier, I accidentally pushed the stop button on the video, so I had to make a second part of the me reading the book. So if you only saw this part, just try to find the first part. Okay, bye. See you next time. I'll be reading something else sometime soon. From Noah Paul Mathis. Bye. Peace out.